What is up guys, your boy Gunsoww and welcome back to a new video. Today I'm gonna be breaking down a song which I haven't done in a while, but today I'm gonna show you guys how I made To the Moon, which by the way is not necessarily a reference to GME or Dogecoin. I didn't know what name to use for the track, so I just To the Moon. Rocket emoji. Anyways, before I jump into the video, I just wanted to let you guys know that you still have 5 or 6 days. If you want to get something that's normally worth $110, you can get it for $45. You get 5 drum kits and 5 loop packs. You have the link in the description. But anyways, let's dive in. So this is the project. It's not actually that big. It's only like 30 something tracks. And the melody actually is a sample. You know, it's one of those epic movie score tracks, whatever. So I downloaded the track, I rearranged it a bit, and dropped it down by 4 semitones, or 3 actually. It only has an EQ and a compressor, so I can sidechain the kicks, and that's it. But now, the drop. Well, we have 3 drops. They're basically identical, because I got lazy. But the third one is actually slightly different, and only because it has 2 extra melodies, which I made in Serum. The thing is, the Serum melody is not actually in scale with the main melody. They just sound pretty good to me, so I kind of ignored the scale and just, you know, did my own thing. But this is how they sound like together. And it's basically just the normal melody with this dubstep-y sound that I had to render out because it wasn't sounding great if I wanted to repitch it. And I'm pretty sure it's the same note throughout. And then this one, the second one, is actually just the default saw wave, whatever, just slightly changed so it becomes arpeggiated. And that's it. They work together, so I'm just gonna leave them be. But now, the drums, the fun part. The kicks, it's the kick that I use the most. Once you turn up the volume, it becomes super hard and it's really great. You know? It just works. But it's also stacked with a stomp, and this one sounds like this. So together, this is only to add some extra harmonies to the kick, and of course a reverse kick. Now, the 808. So as you can see, I have 2 tracks for the 808 because one is the low frequencies and the other one is the higher frequencies. The low one sounds like this. So it's a pretty straightforward pattern. I didn't do much with it. Of course, if this were in FL, I probably would have added a lot more slides and more proper slides, but I kind of had to do it the janky way. And if you use Ableton 10, you know what I mean. It's really to do slides in Ableton. You have to do the math here. Oh, I need to pitch up 16 semitones. Kind of annoying having to use my media as a reference so I can count the notes. But these are the slides. As you can see, they just, you know, slide up. But that's about it with the first 808. The second one is basically the exact same pattern, the exact same slides, just a different mixing. And this one sounds like this. These 2 808s are grouped together, so I added an Ozone 8 and specifically the imager, because if I'm using chorus, I know the low frequencies are gonna phase and you don't wanna have stereo bass because it just makes everything worse. So both sound like this with the vector scope enabled. Then we have the third 808, which is basically in the bridge/switch up section, which is paired with a different kick that doesn't hit as hard. And the kick sounds like this by itself. It's basically a lo-fi kick, but then the actual 808, it's the same notes and the same slides and whatnot as the main pattern. It's just that it's a different 808 and it's a short 808. And as for the settings, it has basically the exact same settings, just lower chorus compared to the main 808, and that's about it. As a pre-drop 808, we go back to the previous 808. This one I had to resample because the pattern itself sounded great when you solo it, but then it sounded super off for some reason on my phone. So I just decided to keep the notes but slightly change them, and I'm gonna show you what I mean by that. So it sounded okay with my headphones, but with the melody, when I was listening on my phone and listening on different speakers, it sounded super off. So what I had to do was basically add the kickstart, and then I decided to resample it, and now it sounds like this. And that's the pre-drop, I guess. The transition from Pluggy 808 to this one, so... And it's a pretty seamless transition. It doesn't have any like cymbals going in or something. It just works, I guess. We also have another 808 that's only being played in the intro, and it's basically the exact same 808 as this one, with just a different EQ. And if I play it by itself and then with the other elements, you'll know what I mean. So it's pretty subtle, but it does add some harmonic elements, which I really like about it. Although I really like this part because it subconsciously prepares you for what's coming. Like you can kind of hear the 808 coming in with the same notes kind of thing. So I feel like it adds a lot, even though you wouldn't think it would do much, but it, you know, it works. And now, of course, 808 Pluckies, because of course, and these ones are pretty simple. Once again, what the fuck? Once again, these two come in a pair basically. They're the exact same thing. One is an octave lower. It adds some more mid-ish frequencies to the whole thing. It does add some harmonics as well, and it works pretty great in the mix. It's not as in your face as I would normally have them, but it works with the melody, and that's what I like about it. And then we have a pretty subtle-ish brass hit. You can't really make a track like this and not include a brass hit. And of course I'm talking about this one. And you can barely hear it, but it's there to add some harmonics and it works. Now, there are 3 snares stacked and then the filler snares. But before that, we do have a clap that's only coming in the bridge, just like a simple clap with a reverb. That's it. But the snares, as I said, all of these sound like this together. They're super loud and kind of spaced out. I didn't really do much with these specifically, but you'll see in a minute why I didn't add rolls with this snare in particular. But, you know, these are just 3 snares combined to give it a bit more punch and to make them sound a bit bigger without adding reverb and stuff. But the actual like snare rolls come from the classic. What I really like about this snare specifically is that it's so easy to add it to a melody because it's so melodic in a way. By default, it's probably on C, so it's easy to tune and it's easy to make a counter melody, kind of like using a cowbell, but this is a snare. And I add an auto pan, which basically does this with the stereo, just so I wouldn't have to add automations for the panning and whatnot. And then we have a hat loop because I was lazy to actually make one. Then a crash, of course. And also the same crash, just with reverb to kind of fill in some gaps, so... It's a bit more subtle, but it has a longer trail too. But then again, it's super subtle in the whole mix. It just kind of glues some stuff together and it works. This is the bridge part, and I'm using the same crash as a transition point. And I use this throughout the track a few times. Then for the drum fills, it's super simple. I didn't want to overcomplicate it and add 50 drum fills. It's just 2 basically. And it's the first one and the second one that basically creates an intro for the other one. And then of course my producer tag. And that's about it with the main drop elements. These other things are only present in either the bridge or the intro, and I'm talking about the cinematic things that add to the melody. And I started with some taiko drums, and they actually start with the track too, with the sample, with a 5-second reverb on them, to, you know, make them spacey. I removed the bass for a reason, and you'll see why. Then I added this second taiko drum, and I kind of played this on my keyboard, trying to get a feel for the rhythm. I got this. Then I added some hi-hats, just to kind of fill in some gaps. So together. But I stacked the main taiko drum with an 808 that kind of sweeps down in pitch. And as you can see, barely any higher frequencies. I don't even know why the chorus is on there, because you can barely hear it. But it sounds like this by itself. This is how it sounds like with the other elements too. And of course this drum fill right before the taiko drums. And then I added some filler Foley loops and panned them both left and right. So this whole section sounds like this. And then it transitions towards the pre-drop like this. And then you have the drop. As I said, I only use these in the bridge. And there you have it. That's the track. Basically, that's it. For the master, you know me, I only use a soft clipper. And of course, the whole track sounds like this. Anyways, that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you for watching it, and thank you for listening to the song. I hope you guys enjoyed the track and the video. As I said, if you guys want to support me, you can buy a bundle kit which contains 5 drum kits and 5 loop packs, and it's more than 50% off compared to having to buy all of those separately. But yeah, it was your boy Gunsoww. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.